How many times have you hit a really nice shot and it just takes off 20 yards right of your target and your friends say, hey, that's right where you're aiming? Okay, in this video, let's talk about how to fix your alignment. Aiming and alignment is a real problem for a lot of players. It causes then swing problems as well. So let's talk about the one key thing you can do to learn how to fix your alignment for good. Okay, just a reminder, if it is your first time to the channel, or if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you like the video, hit the like button as well. Now, for most players that struggle with alignment, if they play right-handed, they tend to aim to the right, meaning they walk into the ball and they aim their body more this direction, off to the right of the target, instead of directly down their target line at their target. And a lot of that has to do with eye dominance. And a lot of players that play golf right-handed happen to be right eye dominant. And if you are right eye dominant, it's very difficult for your eye to sort of acquire where the target line is. And what it tends to do is it lines you up to the right. It appears to be straight, but in fact, you'll be aimed to the right. So what we want to do is show you the best way to cure that and to use something other than just the lines on the ground as a reference so that you'll know when you go play that you are indeed aimed directly at your target. As a golf fan and as a golfer, you've seen the pros on TV walk into the ball many times. They walk into the shot, put that club down on the ground, get ready, and then they go. And you'll notice there's a certain sequence that they follow. They always follow club on the ground first and then set up to the ball. So we call it building your stance around the club. So the club is on the ground, usually in one hand, and then you'll take your stance to get ready. And that's certainly the correct process to follow, or the right sort of sequence to follow, rather than walking in and then setting your club. A lot of players that are avid players, they walk in, they kind of generally know where the target is, and then as they walk in, they sort of get their feet kind of ready to what seems normal to the target, and then put the club in. Sometimes they're too close to the ball, they're too far away. They can be turned right or left. A lot of problems occur when you don't simply put the club down on the ground and aim it at your target. And if you're a player who's played for any amount of time at all, you've probably heard the idea of having an intermediate target. So meaning that it's a lot easier to aim my club 2 to 3 feet down the line, like aiming through this ball I'm gonna hit towards this other one, as compared to just simply aiming way out there 200 yards away at a target. So it is a very good idea to practice using intermediate targets, something inside, a foot to 2 feet in front of your ball to first aim your club face at, and then set your feet parallel to those lines. And it's a very good idea to practice with clubs on the ground to teach your eyes what square looks like and what it looks like so that your toes are certainly the same distance from whatever alignment tool you're using. And I find most players can do that. They can figure out how to get the feet lined up fairly square using tools. The only problem is, without another frame of reference or another reference point, it's very difficult to take this to the course because, as we know, you're not allowed to put clubs down when you're playing golf on the course. So let's talk about what can you do to have a really true north or reference point to use out on the golf course. Now, from this view, just to show you that the idea of using the sort of peripheral vision of my left eye is that when I am in here over the golf ball and I learn to look up, turn my head and see what this distance is between my target and the point of my shoulder. Once again, it is just out of the sort of the periphery of my left eye. I don't want to be sort of turning my head and moving my body in such a way that changes my posture and my alignment. So it's so important that when you're setting up to a golf ball, you're trying to get things into a system that's easy to manage and easy to repeat and easy to do when you're on the golf course. So coming into the golf ball, like I said, this isn't a case of I'm here and I'm really kind of looking and scoping out my target by turning a lot of both my eyes toward the target. This is simply a key of being in here, turning my head, and then learning as I look up and turn my head, there's a certain point of my shoulder I can see just out of the periphery of my left eye. That's a certain distance from the target, and that lets me know that I am square to my target. Now, it does take some practice. I'll warn you, you have to get out there and do some reps on the driving range, but boy, is it worth it. When you know that you're lined up straight and you can start to trust that alignment, you become so confident when you're out on the golf course. What I found in my own game is that I had a very difficult time aiming on the golf course. I would always aim well to the right. And my friends would always say, hey, you're aimed way right, you're aimed way right. But it never looked like that to me. It always looked straight to me. So that was a huge problem, that my eyes were that far off. Now, when I used to play a lot of golf tournaments, it became very evident that without fixing my alignment, I was not going to be an accurate player. I was always aimed to the right, but I didn't think I was, and that would have, very often caused my club to get on the wrong angle or steep coming over the top because I'm aiming over this way, my target is back to the left, and of course my brain is going to somehow figure out how to get this club routed back again to get the ball moving toward my target. Now, to get out of this problem, I took a two-step approach. I went to the driving range first, put clubs down, and learned how to set my club, set my feet parallel to the club, and then see this distance between my shoulder and the target and get really used to that. And then I went to the golf course, and I actually used a stick on the golf course at first. I just put it down, lined myself up to the target. I'd walk in, get ready, and I would do that for several rounds, playing just by myself, just working on my alignment. Once I had learned that, I could then go play with my friends, no stick on the ground, walk in there, get ready, use my new reference point up here, and then ask my friends to make sure that I was aiming straight. It took me 3 or 4 rounds of golf with my buddies to kind of really trust that this reference point was there. But hey, that's not very long. I learned to trust it. Then my alignment problems were cured. I'll tell you, when you go play tournaments and you know that you're aimed straight, when you look up and it's in a pressure situation and you know that alignment is correct and you can trust it, that gives you a lot of confidence. Okay, so in summary, make sure that you learn how to fix your alignment in 3 steps. Number 1, walk into that golf ball, and as you come in, make sure you're putting the club on the ground, aiming at your intermediate target first, and then build your stance around that golf club. Number 2, as you're building your stance, make sure that you learn to look at your toes, because a lot of players just simply never look at their feet to see where they're actually aiming. So learn to look down and learn what it looks like to be square, where a line across your toes is indeed parallel to the line that is going towards your target. And then lastly, as you get ready to go, make sure you find that frame of reference like I used, where that point of my shoulder is a certain distance from my target in the periphery of my left eye. Okay, that's gonna wrap it up for this video on how to fix your alignment. And just as a reminder, if it is your first time to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, hit the like button as well. And we'll see you in the next video.